Let's get started.
Oh,
it finally, I told Lance it finally did it to me this morning.
the mat.
That mat, yes, finally, that's the first time it's done that to me.
See that? Well, we've had it for a long time.
No, I'm gonna take it in. It's only been a year.
The mat?
Yeah, that's a year old.
Oh, really?
So I'm gonna take it in and figure it out. But
Yeah, let's get started.
when is this sign gonna get? We're still debating on where it's gonna go.
Oh, yeah, right. Like putting it on the.
Yeah, it's like an internal light. Lance is very much like, let's put it right there and light it up and everything. And I'm like,
I don't want the glass out.
so that's why I like.
Should we get started, everybody?
Yeah.
Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. Morning. Buenos dias. Buenos dias, sir. Perfect.
It got moved out there because there was a bunch of stuff.
Are you pronouncing this?
What?
Are you pronouncing this one already?
No, but we probably do that. Yeah.
All right. How many people in this room feel like spring has already sprung? Isn't that crazy? Like, I kind of felt like it sprung like a couple weeks ago. You know, not just new construction, but just the market overall. I think the winter was pretty mild. Last year, I think the last time we got snow was like February 4th. And this year, who knows, knock on wood. Does anyone know what the groundhog did or said? I didn't pay attention to that.
I saw one solid shadow and one didn't, and apparently there's a couple, I don't know.
Oh, a couple?
They conflict.
Imagine that. Tasting.
Yeah, that's what I heard on the radio.
You can't have two grounds.
I know.
So welcome everybody. I see a lot of faces that have been in our prior mastermind meetings. And the key thing about masterminds is just feeling comfortable with being open, with learning and sharing. You know, from our standpoint as a leadership group, we always say, you know, real estate is really about the law of abundance. If you look at the amount of transactions, transaction size, the amount of deals, the amount of clients that are out there, there's plenty of business to go around within our company and with the agents that deserve their fair share of the market. I think right now I saw a number from Lance yesterday, like 2,054 licensed agents in the market, which stayed pretty stable over the last 12, 16, 18 months. Now, if you look at the stats even further, it is definitely the 80-20 rule, maybe even the 85-15 or the 90-10. So you look at some of the top agents, you look at the first page of the agent ranking reports, there's no single person that has over 1% of market share. So I'm getting at is plenty of business here, and I feel I've been doing masterminds and coaching and training and mentoring for quite a few number of years. The more that I share with you guys, with other agents, with colleagues, competitors, the more I receive back. Just the law of the universe. You know, you give a slice of bread, you get it back to loaves. So that being said, I see a lot of new construction agents. So this is going to be a two-part mastermind, okay? So we're going to focus first part on the agents that are here that have builders. We're going to do a lot of brainstorming, mastermind. We're going to be pretty open. But then the second half, and if we don't get through it all in the second half, we will continue, but we'll be more so for agents that you're here because you want new construction experience, you want to learn more about working with builders, all that fun stuff. But maybe some of our agents that have builders might say, you know, it's not what it's cracked up to be. Right, Jill? Yeah. So, all right, let's go to the next slide. So, agents with builders, can I just have, I'm going to start in the back in the corner, pick on either Danielle or Jill first. Just go around. If you have a builder, who are you representing? How did you start working with that builder? And then don't worry about all these other questions. I'm going to ask these questions, but I just want to kind of identify who's working with builders currently.
I'm working with Kimberly Development, and it initially started because they had a building in Prairie Trail, and they wanted an agent who knew the area, the development, the ins and outs of it, and could represent them all there.
Yeah.
So that's how it all got started, and from there, that development was finished, and they started in Waukee on another little project, and so I moved over there.
Oh, awesome. I didn't know that. That's really cool.
A villa development, so
Okay.
it's just a small little project that I had going on there, but we're getting more in there, so.
Awesome. Danielle?
Caliber Homes, and, oh gosh, there's a lot of details of that. We actually met as friends, and he was working for his dad and decided to get back into building, and I was on the beach in Bermuda for a Coldwell Banker trip, and I sold them the first 4 lots, and now here we are.
Awesome. Lots of good things happen on beaches.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so I should just go back.
So I can share my good story too. Yeah.
Everybody go to a beach.
Go to a beach, and you can get a builder.
Come on.
Okay. Michelle, I think you are getting ready to work with a builder or
Yeah, Alexa, and they are absolute customs out of Omaha, moving into the toy market. So, new. But I have some fun stuff to share in due time.
Awesome. Awesome.
Because I was up against like a David and Goliath, and so
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd
it's
be
a
great.
really big stone.
I'd love to hear that story. Justin?
Yeah, working with Innovate Homes. Started by taking them a client to actually Paul Owens, who owns Ironcrest Homes, and just so happened that he was starting another company, Innovate Homes, and like.
Oh, Paul Owens was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just liked how I was handling that situation, and so went from there.
Awesome. Now, was that an Innovate home or a Ironcrest home that caught?
Ironcrest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That was a
Yeah,
bummer.
that was a bummer.
That what?
Not fun.
There was a house in Coyote Ridge a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you guys all heard, but it,
3 weeks ago.
it caught on fire through combustion.
It was close.
Yeah, it was a few weeks from being completed.
2 weeks
And
ago.
the moral of the story there, this, I feel terrible for the homeowners because they were so close to being finished. But the moral of the story really wasn't Ironcrest's fault. It was the painter's fault. And through the law of combustion, if you pile a bunch of stain rags on top of each other, it can start a fire. And that's what happened. They will, and I think and this all speculate, I didn't hear in the secondhand, so I'm not sure if this is accurate or not, but a pile of rags was close enough to a vent, things just heated up, and the house is pretty much gone.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to start over.
Who takes liability in that case?
You know what? At the end of the day, the builder has a general builder's risk policy, but I could definitely foresee the builder's insurance company
Going after the
painter.
right,
And
interesting.
it's gonna be a real tough situation for the painter. So I don't know what's gonna happen, but people,
They're not known to carry huge policies.
No.
so this one could be a bad deal. Some people may not make it out of it. Yeah. Anyone else representing builders?
I've done some work with Else Construction.
What's that, maybe?
Else,
Else?
ELSE, these are names, and we've done field notes in the field actually. And so we've got a couple of lots this year we want to build, so.
Gotcha. A little bit about me, what makes me qualified to kind of help organize and lead this mastermind. let's see, Dan was talking about a beach. 2006, I was also on a beach, Riviera Maya, and I was with a different brokerage. It was our 1 year anniversary. My wife and I were just kind of relaxing on the beach, and got a phone call from my manager at the time, and she said, "Hey, there's a builder that wants to interview for agents. They want, someone with 2 years experience. I've been licensed for 2 weeks, and they already got a guy.
Close enough.
Yeah, they already had a guy, so they wanted a girl. So again, close enough, right, babe? But she said, we think we should, or we think that you'd be a potential good fit for this builder. So when you get back, we'd like to set up interviews. Well, they were interviewing specifically for agents out of the office that I was in, which was in West Des Moines, and did the interviewed against, I think, 12 other agents in my office. For some reason, they picked a guy with, 2 weeks experience. Wasn't probably as attractive as they wanted me to be. So that was Jersey. And actually, that's how I met Adam Grubb and met his dad, Ron Grubb, and a lot of the other Jerry Home members. And then from there, I worked with New Blood Development, which is Jeff Stambro and Eric Grubb. I actually was a partner with Jen Stambro. I worked with Hubble Homes, kind of worked a little bit off and on with other builders too. And then in 2010, I decided to work for myself and started Dreamscape. So a little bit about me. And this can just kind of be kind of open. What are your favorite parts about working with new construction for those agents that are representing builders?
I feel like it's something you can become an expert at or close to, where resales, everything's so different. There's so many years of span of houses built, and I have a really hard time feeling like I'm an expert at resales. So I like knowing my product and fine tuning it and being able to answer questions like that instead of having to make phone calls to other people. I like being in control.
Yeah.
Answering questions. Yeah, weird, I know.
Danielle's created a great niche in new construction. So she's, definitely set herself up as becoming a new construction expert, one of the go-tos. And then so as we talk about, building your business as an agent, we talk about different lead generation pillars, whether it's the resale market, your sphere of influence, open houses, social media, marketing, farming, all that stuff. New construction is definitely up there. And if you look at some of the top agents in our market, a lot of them are representing builders. That's great. What are some other favorite parts? And Lance has got a wealth of knowledge too. Lance is not currently working with the builders because we've appointed him principal broker.
Yeah.
But Lance, what were some of your favorite parts with all your new construction experience?
The first new construction that I did was
Back in the
designing and building your own. It was, they still use stones and that kind of stuff to chisel the wood out. But I liked gaining the ability to sell something you couldn't see, and that when you can do that, I know Danielle can do that. It's being able to sell something you can't see, bringing a paper to life. It's a pretty remarkable thing, and then see it come to fruition through design and plan and all of that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Anyone have anything to add to that? That's awesome. Selling a dream. We sell dream homes. We sell vision. We sell ideas. We sell excitement. We sell enthusiasm. We sell energy. We sell ourselves. That's probably the most important thing with new construction. Jill, Justin, what are some of your favorite parts?
Mine was pretty similar to Lance. I mean, just that start to finish process of walking them through that, guiding them, and just kind of directing, and seeing that, like you were saying, that excitement there. This is what it started out as, a piece of paper, and then here's the finished product. Having them walk through that, and that's just fun.
Yeah. It's one of the best experiences you can have with a client. I always joke around with clients as we kind of show them houses. Sometimes you show them a house on Thursday night, and that's kind of your Thursday night date, right? That client or that couple. And then when you help them build a house, instead of just a 3-week process or maybe even a 6-week process of trying to find a house, it's a 6-month process. Not a lot of 3-month processes anymore with building, but most times it's 4, 5, 6 months. And so some great relationships are built. And so one of the benefits too, with exactly what Justin says, is if you're there, you're helping, you're really taking care of that client, you have 6 months to not only just build a strong relationship with them, you're not also just being the expert, like Daniel said earlier, and really gaining that trust, but also during that process, you just become such a huge part of that experience with a homeowner, and who are they going to refer, whether they've got friends, family, coworkers, neighbors that are looking to do the same thing, looking to sell, looking to buy. So yeah, absolutely. Jill?
Same type of thing. It's just being part of the process and allowing the client to get involved, it's exciting.
Yeah.
Just to take them through that whole process and be a part of it.
You have a talent that you won't say that. I like your prior.
Well,
What's
I
that?
have a design background, so
Yeah, she wouldn't
part of
say
it
that.
is that.
Yeah.
What kind of design?
Well, I did graphic design, but I worked for Better Homes and Gardens.
Oh, cool. That's great.
She's really talented, and she just wouldn't admit
Did you guys work together then, Michelle? Are you guys in the same?
it. She was more talented than I was.
Yes.
I was only
Michelle
creative.
supported that.
Oh, so you guys kind of knew each other?
Yeah, we
before?
knew each other from there.
Oh, that's awesome. I did not know that.
Yes, I was on the marketing side, and she was on BHG, and I worked across titles.
Yeah.
So we just met in the fitness
In the
center.
We never really worked together. We worked out.
Yep.
But I know she's talented.
Yeah. Anyone else? What are your favorite parts working with a builder? Randy?
Yeah, I think initially, working with a builder is always an interesting process. Some of the concerns that they have and getting things started, what type of design to work with, and trying to make sure that at the end of the day, you have a product that's gonna be priced right, and the features and the quality, it meets that specific area in that development, and trying to price it right, and have a finished product that's gonna sell well within a matter of, a couple months is critical for builders. Nothing worse than having a builder have something out there that sits there for more than 6 months. They get really quite concerned.
Yeah. This isn't on our list today, but Becca, would you write down, I heard a couple things on selling, talking about the sales process a little bit more, and then pricing and just some challenges or opportunities with spec homes.
I was just gonna say, I did a lot of open houses for a couple Iowa Realty agents when I was there, and it's also contagious. Like, people who are building a home will go to a developer's open house that isn't their home to show people, this is what my house is going to look like, or whatever, and then those people think about building, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, it's super contagious, and it's very, very fun. I mean, that's the one thing is, as you guys, do more and more new construction, for those that are wanting to add that to your business plan, it's not just contagious for the client, but for you as an agent, it's definitely very addictive, isn't it, Danny?
Yes.
Okay, so what are your biggest challenges? What are some of the challenges that you guys are facing right now in new construction?
So many other builders in the market.
Mhm.
There's a lot of competition out there.
Yeah, that's right. Are you guys seeing? I mean, we're seeing new builders that, brand new names, brand new faces come into the market, whether they're from out of town. Greyhawk was probably one of the more recent out of town builders that came to the market. But when the market's hot, it definitely happens. And it seems like everyone that has some sort of new construction experience or a passion, or maybe they're an investor or a partner, has definitely come. So, yep. Now, what are some of the things that you guys do or ideas that we might have to overcome some of these new builders, the competition?
You get to differentiate your longevity in the market, like Kimberly for sure.
Mhm.
Been around, has reputation, has awards, has all that sort of the quality behind that. The what's the word? Like reviews and
Yeah.
all that. So can really push that sort of stuff, and the details and the bones that go into the house become very important. And giving all those details are a big
Yeah.
deal.
Absolutely.
And communication, because sometimes new builders coming in most likely don't have that quite set up yet. So
Yeah.
communication and over the top on that side would be good.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that right there in a snapshot is exactly what we should be saying if you are working with or will be working with a seasoned builder. Because the new builders, I tell clients all the time, there's over 200 things for selections, decisions that we have to oversee. And if you don't have the systems, you don't have the process, you don't have the experience, it can become chaotic. It can definitely become a disaster, especially if you're working with a sole person. A lot of times people say, oh, this is the builder, and it's Joe Smith. And Joe Smith is not only the builder, he's the designer, he's the superintendent, he's the coordinator, he's the accountant, he's the customer service, he's the warranty guy. And so that is definitely something like a company like Kimberly that's been building, I think since 1978, is that what? The best Ankeny builder for 30 years in a row or something like that. I mean, that is definitely something huge. And then also from a longevity standpoint, I don't know how many of us were in the market when Regency was around or Oaks Development was around. But big builders can definitely go down. But as far as these new builders go too, I mean, if there's something that happens and, minor callbacks are easy enough. You bring in a drywall guy to make drywall repairs or a sinkhole, or, you bring in different subs during that warranty process. But if there's something big, which, at the end of the day, no builder is not susceptible to big issues, does that builder that's newer have the financial capacity to warranty their product? And that's one thing that's super huge in Iowa. So Iowa, we've got one of the longest warranty by law in America. We're 15 years. It's called statute of repose. So for 15 years, a builder is liable for structural issues. Anything that has to do with structure, they're on the hook for. So Dreamscape builds a house in 2010. I'm on the hook for that house up until 2025. So that's one thing. If you're representing a seasoned builder, you know, that has that history, that financial track record, that's a huge, huge, huge selling advantage.
Is that the same for a developer in terms of grading and drainage?
You know what? A little different, because that's more of a general contractor.
Okay.
But as far as the developer goes, a lot of times the developer can be liable from a HOA neighborhood standpoint, but those, a lot of times those are just something that, you know, all the individual homeowners may need to go after. Unless, Vance, you know anything different with?
No,
those for developers?
There's specific things that the developer has to deal with. Mostly it's water control, grading, you know, that kind of thing. If you can prove that the builder didn't follow the grading plan that was presented, you know, then you have recourse. But if it's like, well, my backyard's wet, it's like, well, that's the grading plan. We had, out in Benbury, we had to put in a couple of different things because the grading plan that was accepted was a 1% grade, but it was through grass, not concrete. 1% grade on concrete, water flows freely. 1% grade in grass doesn't.
Yep.
And so we had some serious big wet spots and stuff, and they had to regrade and put in some, what do they call those little gills that in the ground that have to gather the water. Beehive like or something.
Beehive,
Yeah.
a drain.
Yeah, it's a drain tile, but it's got a little thing on it that
we
lets
call it
water
pop-out,
in
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So they have that. You have recourse on things that they agreed to do, but all the other stuff, once a buyer, builder, or whatever accepts the lot, then because you accept responsibility at that point for final grade, you expect responsibility for any dirt, you know, leaving your site and all that kind of stuff. That all flips to the builder as part of the responsibility.
Which is not the same as the construction.
Correct.
Because it seems like Legacy and Norwalk, they're all the same. They're all built by the same company.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it is different because there's a developer. The developer is who, you know, acquires the land, develops the land, everything that Lance just mentioned. And so like Legacy, Hubble Realty Company is the developer. And then they sell lots to Hubble Homes. So that's why kind of still under the same umbrella, but then they also sell lots to other builders too.
Right.
Gotcha.
What are some of the other big, Brian, you have a question?
I was going to ask, in the event of a company, you know, through insolvency, is there an insurance plan that covers that? I mean, do they pay through insurance, and then that way the buyer does still have someone to come back?
There definitely are third-party insurance or
It's a
warranty. And it's not a requirement, but there are third-party warranty providers out there that not only a builder can purchase and offer to a home warranty, or the buyer themselves can purchase as well.
But that's not actually required by law for a builder to have. Okay, so if they go insolvent, you're done.
Bankruptcy is
Well,
safe man.
That's part of my question too, is because sometimes they will say absolutely nothing built by, and they'll list one of the companies. And so then you're like, oh, okay. I mean, because for a while I had a couple of clients that were like nothing from Happy Homes, period. And so then you have to look for developments or whatever that are.
Yeah, and that definitely can be a challenge too, is finding the right builder and making sure that builder is able to build in certain developments. Prairie Trail is kind of blackballed some builders from my knowledge.
It's not in, but they're.
Yeah. So and that will be something that we're going to talk about here in a little bit too, but that is definitely a huge challenge. Yes.
One of the things I want to talk about, just from being on the other side, as the sales manager for Rutland Homes, it's a huge thing if agents take the time to learn about that. You know, there's so many agents, it's like just get a signature on a purchase agreement and that's all there is to it. If they know the product line, understand the scenario that's going on, especially when you're representing a builder, know the process, know what's happening out there, what the selections are, what are the different things. That's huge.
Yeah, I think that's like for on our presentation.
Yeah.
So we're gonna definitely.
That's a
cover that too.
big
That's
challenge
huge.
for builders
Yep.
on the other side.
Exactly. You know, from my partner standpoint, sometimes we pay a commission to an agent. Definitely not a Remax or say Concepts agent, but we pay a commission to this agent or this brokerage. And it's like, you know, what do they do to deserve it? Nothing, to be honest. So know that when you're dealing with builders, that's a big challenge for us as agents. A lot of builders see agents as, you know, waste money. I'll be straight up and honest with you. If they can cut you out, they'll cut you out. Now, does that gain them a great reputation for the long term? Absolutely not. They need to be very, very buyer agent friendly, but just know that. So if you're gonna come to the dinner table and not bring any value, know that, you know, they may not want to work with you again. So on the flip side, if you come to the table like what Jill was saying, you come and bring value with your background, your experiences. All of a sudden, not only can you be a buyer's agent, but all of a sudden they're like, you know what? We've got this new development and we love working with Jill. Jill was awesome. She did a great job, very professional. She was at every meeting. You know, not the builder, the owner of the company. That could be superintendents, that could be project managers, that could be their in-house designers. Lindsay?
I don't want to chase the squirrel here, but right now I am assisting some clients who are going to be building. They thought they knew who they were going to be building with, and that agent, they decided not to work with that agent and that company builder anymore. So now they're talking with somebody else. And I said, okay, well, let me know when a meeting is and I'll go with you. So if they keep doing these meetings without me and then say, yeah, Lindsay's our agent.
You gotta be at every single meeting. And if anything, coordinate the meetings. Because if you're not at a meeting and.
Because they just think, oh, well, we're just still trying to figure it out. So I'm like, you
Yeah.
know, I need to be
You
there.
need to be involved in them figuring it out.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're
Yes.
toast.
Yeah. Because there are definitely clients, I mean, I can tell you just off of memory, maybe a dozen stories throughout my last 10 years where agents were working with clients. They were setting up meetings, but then for whatever reason, the client set up a meeting directly with a builder, and maybe that builder didn't have the ethics or value like a Caliber would have and be buyer agent friendly. And the next thing they know is like, you know what, we really can't help you hit your budget, but if you don't have a realtor, we can save you some money. And all of a sudden, those agents got cut out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Real fast.
Thank you.
Like, just think of the upgrades in your carpet and appliances if you don't have that agent.
Bare minimum 3%, sometimes 6%. $400,000 house, that's 12 to 24 grand. That's big money. So get involved as soon as possible. And we're gonna talk about that in the process part of it. We're also gonna talk about forms to protect you guys from losing out on commission. So, okay, what other big challenges do we have?
I think when we were growing Caliber, one of the big challenges that I was doing so much was you get to the end of the build and you have to start over and getting new clients. I think to keep things moving the whole time. Because as soon as you close one, the builders don't want to know what's happening next. So they have a very short memory
Yeah.
when it comes to that.
Yeah.
And what you just all did.
What have you
So-
done for me lately?
Yeah,
Right? That's the
exactly.
mentality.
So I think to always be filling that funnel is important. When you got your head down and you're working on customers and helping them with picks, it's hard to do the agent side of it too.
Okay.
So
The next slide's all about that.
Okay.
Yep, we're gonna definitely talk about ideas. You're exactly right. Builders, and I'm kind of a builder because I own a building company, but I think more like an agent. I'm more of a marketer. Builders, if we were to stereotype, put a builder in a box, what Danielle said is exactly right. What have you done for me lately? What are you bringing to the table? Why am I gonna pay you 3%, 6%? What's in it for me? It doesn't matter how many deals you brought them. You might have brought them 100 deals, but if you slow down for a quarter, for 6 months, for a year, it's all about how many houses they can build, okay? So just know that's, you know, this is their profession, this is their livelihood. And I'm not speaking on all builders, like I said, I mean, this is being very pigeonholed, but unfortunately it is very true, right, Lance?
Oh, yeah.
Any other big challenges that we're facing new construction wise? Pricing, who's having problems with pricing? Has prices gone up? How do you overcome that with the builder? How do you not price yourself out of the market? How do you tell a homeowner that, hey, you know what, you know, when we were in the process of starting, the price of build was this, but because of this, this, and this, all of a sudden you're higher. Is anyone having that problem? And that is definitely like next level problems, but just know that that can happen. building materials, most of them are commodities based. All of them are supply and demand based. And so as lumber prices go up, that affects the bottom dollar. So a lot of times builders can't eat that. You know, oil goes up, all of a sudden vinyl windows, vinyl siding, vinyl floors, roofs, all that stuff goes up. Demand goes up, all of a sudden people are wanting floor trusses and concrete and cabinets and appliances. I mean, we're in a capitalistic market, so it's supply and demand. Lance?
You know, hurricane,
Natural disasters, economy.
that's boom, it
Yeah.
goes crazy.
Yeah. So those are huge challenges. Now, the key thing that I want to make sure you guys know, we can't control those challenges. We can't control a hurricane. We can't control interest rates. We can't control policy. We can't control a lot of those things. So it's really just being able to help your clients understand what's going on, helping them with that information and education. And if a builder comes back and says, you know what, guys, sorry, we're, instead of, $450 for your house, now it's $458. Some builders, if you throw them on the bus and say, you know what, that builder is just being greedy and this and that, that's one way of not being able to work with that builder in the future. You have to, it's a balancing act. So that's a huge challenge. Another big challenge that I've seen quite a bit is lot inventory. How many people are having that? Lot prices as well. How do we overcome that? We're going to talk about that on how to find lots, things like that. Why don't we skip these other questions? Let's go to the next one because I want to talk about ideas. So for the agent, and again, so the first part I want to focus on agents that do have new construction, and some of these ideas too can help you with your resale market, your sphere of influence. But Danny, you mentioned this earlier, keeping that pipeline full. So getting the bad about working new construction. The good is you can create inventory, you can create product, you create something out of nothing, and you can sell it. The bad is you don't get paid for a few months out. Sometimes you find a house for a client and it's in drywall stage, that might be 60 days. If you you start from scratch, it's more than six months because you got the plans, specs, the financing, appraisal, all that stuff. So how do we keep the pipeline full? And so social media, how many people are really hitting, how many of the new construction agents are really hitting social media hard? And is that a huge avenue?
Pretty much number one for us, and word of mouth. So you get to that point where you take care of enough people. That's your least expensive.
How much do you use LinkedIn?
I do not.
Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we use some Instagram.
Okay.
Because you can link now Instagram and Facebook together. So it makes it.
Now with your Hootsuite, you can also do LinkedIn too.
Okay.
So there are people that are LinkedIn that are not on Facebook.
Right.
It seems like a lot of my guy friends that are my age, like 30s, 40s, they don't want to be on Facebook, But you go to their LinkedIn profile, I mean, the resume is up to date, the networking, kinds of reviews, and that's their focus. So I definitely think there's LinkedIn. So if that's not something that you guys are currently doing, check out Hootsuite, and that's just one place that you can post it and it goes everywhere. You can schedule it. So I agree with Danielle. If you've got new construction and you do not have a social media marketing plan, definitely create one. That's huge, not just value to your builder, but definitely probably the number one way to fill your own pipeline for new construction leads.
Quick question on that. You're building your own brand. It's through your pages that you're promoting them.
Well, the Caliber Homes, I did the Caliber Homes page.
Okay.
So it looks just like Caliber Homes. You don't know that I'm the one doing
Okay.
everything right there. So I have my team page and then I have a Caliber Homes separate, but I'm doing both of them.
Okay.
Yeah, the cool thing about what Danielle, the cool thing what Danielle did, just think about the value. She created the Caliber page. So who technically kind of owns that and operates that and has full control. Who's bringing that value to the table? She is.
You don't have to worry about posting or anything like that.
You don't have to go through, she doesn't have to go through anybody else. She doesn't have the authorization through the builder's wife or the marketing person. She does it, right? And that's our role. At the end of the day, we are for sales, but marketing is a huge part of why a builder will pick you. So if you don't have a social media marketing plan, I would say And this is very similar to what we've always been talking about for your realtor social media marketing plan. Create a plan. And it's not like you have to reinvent the wheel. To be honest, it's already been there, done that. I remember I created a Facebook page for Glenstone Trail. That was like the first business real estate Facebook page. And that was like back in the late 2000s. But now everybody's got a page. Every builder has a page. Some of them don't utilize it well. Some builders have, you know, a few dozen likes. Some of them have a couple hundred likes. Some builders have thousands of likes. So not just research the local builders, but go all over the place. See who's really, you know, out there just kind of hustling on social media. So I would encourage you guys, especially for you, Michelle, with this new builder, you know, look at what everybody else is doing and make it your own. Now, don't copy my text word for word. I'll notice it, but you know, but that's very important. So that's a huge chunk of leads. And also, if you're going to create it, I would also recommend looking at boosting, promoting your that's, you know, and you see that a lot actually. A lot of builders, a lot of agents are promoting. Facebook marketing is actually pretty cheap. I mean, you boost something for $5, $10, $20, a couple $100, and whatever you want to spend, and it's a great return. Okay. Any other suggestions, ideas on social media?
Is anybody doing Google AdWords? That is strong. This builder feels strongly.
Yeah. You know, the thing about Google AdWords, it definitely works. It's very effective. There's a lot of agents that are getting a lot of internet leads from their websites, whether it's Conversion, Commissioning, Tiger Leads, Boomtown. The key thing there is don't in-house that. Don't do that yourself. You have to find someone to outsource that to, because that's a whole new world.
Right.
That's, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10 as far as technical complexity,
Right.
it's probably a 7, 8, 9.
Okay.
Don't you know, utilize your time to do that. Find someone to partner with that person. Definitely works though. I mean, you know, Des Moines Custom Builder. I mean, organic's always the best, but the paid, I mean, you'll definitely get the top. Anything else on social media?
Quick, I think just for all the advertising and stuff, you really have to focus on why. Why this builder? You know, so why is it your builder is the builder? What do they do that's different, that they're better at, that they follow up with, or, you know, that kind of, you just have to know that so that you have a direction to go with them. I mean, they may build the most square footage of any builder out there for the money. That's a good thing. You know, other people, custom builders, but that's just buying square footage. You got to have this, this, and this. And if your builder is the one doing those things, then you got to focus on that. So understand what your builder's about so that you can promote them properly and bring people to them.
Yeah, that's a great point, especially if they haven't done that themselves. And most builders, you know, they really haven't. You know, they know what their pricing is and their floor plans are, but as far as that competitive knowledge, that's huge. That's critical. And how do you do that? You know, scouring through the MLS, walking through these houses, going to the agent opens, do your homework. That's great. How about website? How many of the agents in here, the builder has a website? Yeah, and if they don't have a website, that's definitely another value proposition that you can do. Is, you know, websites are very important, and if the builder doesn't have a website, create it, pay for it, own it. You own the domain. You can do all the hosting or pay for the hosting, control all that behind the scenes stuff, and then again, that's another huge value proposition, something that you bring to the table. Photos, videos, drones. Any of the new construction agents doing? How many of you guys are using professional photography? Jake? I mean, that's probably some of the best money that you can spend.
We
Right?
got a good drone guy now too. So
Awesome.
yeah, there's some fun stuff that you do with that. I get really good hits on social media with the drones.
Yeah. If you're not doing professional photography and you're representing a builder, I mean, that's just a no-brainer. Drones is definitely something to stay, you know, if you are listing by listing with your builder and someone else comes in, because everybody wants to go after your builder, all of a sudden they can say, hey, I'll do drones and I'll throw this and I'll do this, I'll do that. Now, we don't want to make it a pissing contest, pardon my phrase there, but at the end of the day, you got to provide that value. Drones are huge. Drones are definitely one of the next marketing platforms that we need to really take advantage of. How many people are doing videos? I would highly encourage videos too. So videography, I know Jake Boyd does videos.
Busy does.
Vizzy does. But what I would do is definitely partner with someone that can do like all three videos. Again, going back to what other builders are doing, one of the coolest things that I've seen a lot lately from our concept pages, I don't know if you've seen Colin Pansy or Andrew Grumman, they are doing a lot of like live, Facebook Live selfie type of videos. Now, I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of like the selfie aspect. Like here I am walking through this house and look behind me, here's the kitchen and here's the driveway and the sidewalk and this and that. Oh, it's see it. I mean, it's nice to be on it, like maybe your face for the first 10 seconds, but flip the camera. But what are some ideas? So here's some ideas that I was going to share with you guys is, go live on Facebook. Go live if it's slow at an open house. You only get 3 people through a new construction open house. You can probably get 30 people online watching a Facebook Live video. Make it a thing. This is something that Dreamscape is going to do, live at 5,
The best activity that I see is the live.
Yeah, live at 5, live over lunch. You guys borrow those ideas. But that's, something that I think is super important. And then all of a sudden people are, not only are they seeing the product, you can talk about the competitive advantages like what Lance was saying, but also they get to know you. This is Michelle and I'm live at, what's the name of the builder again?
Alexa.
Alexa. Like,
Alexa. Aluxa.
okay, Alexa. I thought you said Alexa, like the Amazon.
I know.
Alexa, play 80s.
Yeah, you can. Alexa, build a house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that is huge because you know what? When a buyer, let's say you get a buyer, or I'm not even saying you get a buyer. Buyers out there, they have 2 decisions when they want to build a house. And everybody's in this huge, or at least I feel like the new construction market is the strongest it's ever been since I've been an agent. People are watching HGTV, they're on Houzz, they're on Pinterest, they see it all over the place on Facebook. And when they're wanting to buy a new house, they can't find what they're looking for. It's not an open concept. It's not a white kitchen. There's not enough windows. There's not enough stone or built-ins or this and that. Or it's a cookie cutter house and looks like everybody else. So all of a sudden you got this consumer that doesn't know where to start. So how do you become and create that niche that Danielle mentioned, become that new construction agent? So not only by representing a builder, but if you don't have a builder, and you're doing an agent open for Danielle, you're doing it for Shane, you're doing it for one of our Jerry's agents, all of a sudden you can say, hey, this is Shannon. I just want to let you guys know I'm going to be here from 1 to 4 at open house. I'm the expert when it comes to this home for today because I'll be here. I'm going to show you all the features. I'm going to show you the neighborhood. I'm going to show you all the lots that are available. These lots are in, the Schuler Elementary School District and blah, 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 blah. All of a sudden, that person that's not assigned to an agent, they're not tied to a builder, they might come to you, especially if you're funny. Michelle?
It was something really cool. And maybe some people have seen this, but my dad is in the printing industry and he showed me a video. He was like at a football stadium. And so I was looking at it on his phone, but then I'm like, oh wait, I want to go over here. And it was, do you know what I'm talking about? It's 360 video. It was so cool. And so I just thought, I know I keep doing this on my phone, I look crazy, but it was really interesting because if I wanted to see that stone fireplace and I wanted to zoom in, it's a pretty cool experience.
Yeah, Shane actually bought like a software and a package that I think it's like a price per square foot, but it's kind of like a Matterport.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what he bought, but
his is better than Matterport because that's what
it's pretty awesome. So definitely, I think money well spent on something that is definitely more expensive than just regular photos.
I didn't know Vizzy did 360s. Is that correct?
But yeah, so
What? Vizzy does 360 videos?
Before I left Iowa Realty, they were offering it to Iowa Realty at a certain price because they came in to pitch it.
yeah, well, and through our marketing coordinator, I mean, he's definitely able to learn and utilize tools. Lance?
One of the things that I've always wanted to do, and I never, stayed with it, it went into management and it went away. But one thing that people absolutely love is standing around watching things get built. I used to work construction. I mean, literally we had sidewalk people that were there every day to see the latest. If you we're building all the time, and you can figure out a way to at least once a week have a picture from the same exact spot or a short video from the same exact spot over and over and over. As the house got built, you get so many hits on that, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Because people love it and they will watch it, you know, and if you could get the foreman to, you know, every day, Friday, at the end of the day, take a picture from the exact same spot of the house, and you put that together over a process of, you know, 20, 30 photos and pop them through, people would just be like, oh my God, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Or if it's little snippets of video that go together and you see this house go. People just, I mean, they die for that stuff.
They love
I
it.
was thinking about that at the end of the project.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, me too. That's why I never did. But if you could get that done and then put it out there and go, hey, have you ever wondered? This is how we build a house.
Yeah.
And of course, everybody else does too.
Yeah.
But it's you that they're looking at.
Yep,
It's a great idea
That's a
to
good
make
idea.
it work.
People love stories, and that's what that is all about, the story of a house being built, and you can incorporate the client. So we talked a little bit about paid advertising with Google AdWords and Facebook. You know, print advertising, definitely there's magazines and publications, things like that. We've spent money, but I don't really see a huge return. I mean, if you want to spend money to just have that presence and have that awareness, you can do it, but I'd rather spend $2,000 in Facebook marketing than $2,000 in print marketing.
Working with the different builders that I've worked with, I think that that's an important thing, depending on where they came from, that you have to provide enough value so they understand why current advertising is not necessary. I know even Kimberly still likes to see his name in print, and he likes that branding that, you know, that is provided by some other companies and get sucked in by that, but the actual value of that to sales is probably very limited.
Yeah. And, you know, for Bill, it might be, hey, how many sales have we gotten, or have you gotten from being in all these? Because I know he does a lot of print advertising. What's the return on it?
Yeah.
And
Well, we had that discussion
Yeah.
because we're in meetings with our realty and everybody else, and so everybody goes through what they're doing. When we start talking about the hits we got on Facebook, all this different things, and all they say is, well, we had that ad in the paper, you know, like it just,
how many people clicked on that?
yeah. And then what happened, you know? So he's old school enough, but I think he gets it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and Kimberly, you know, and Jenna helps and all that stuff too. But it is a mind shift, and I understand the branding side of it, but I think you have to be able to provide the value and show them where things are coming from now.
You know, and my whole philosophy, if the builder wants to pay for the print advertising, go ahead and let them help them with the design and everything else, call to action. Sometimes some builders are not marketers, so definitely help them with that part. But I would also just show the potential return on what they're, you know, expecting for that money that they're going to spend, because print is very expensive. So I'm not a big fan of print, but we definitely do it.
I would add, because it's pretty fresh, we were up against another brokerage that was showing probably $10,000 to $15,000 in print, and I come from print, and so I understand all of that, and so that the builder understood the value, or he understood where he was at on his value spectrum of a print ad. But if I wasn't able to speak to that, I think it could have kind of been dead in the water, because if another brokerage is going to attribute something to be $10,000 to $15,000, it must be amazing. And it's like, to who? I mean, to which age range? And if that's your audience, great. But so, because they do, other brokerages line it up pretty nice and they make it look really good.
Well, because you have all that to show.
Right.
Yeah,
in your
Right.
portfolio.
Yes.
But, you know, when it comes to action,
Right.
what does it do for you?
Yeah, fluff pieces. I mean, and just, you know, you're going to be competing against our realty for a builder, and they're going to say, we'll do $15,000, $10,000 worth of print. And they're also going to say, hey, we're going to put you on the iRealty TV show.
Yeah.
How do you combat that?
Their marketing budgeted $30,000, $30,005.
Per builder, or for that builder?
So
30,000, that's a lot of
that was me. And I was like, well, I won't be able to spend 30, but I could throw 28. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we're up against. And so that was interesting that, and when you take out that, so I dissected theirs, and a lot of it is the print.
Yeah.
A lot of it's upfront, and then their in-house social media person was gonna be like $1,000, and
Don't they count like talking at office meetings as a value? I mean, they used to anyway.
Yeah.
And I was like, they let me in there and I'm not
He
even.
actually has the whole proposal that was
Oh,
from
wow.
them
I was pretty
specific.
grateful. I said, ooh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that talking about the importance of relationship is what it's all about. And that covers up the people that don't have the ability to create relationships. If you can create relationships and build a brand and provide that value, you don't need any of that stuff.
Yeah,
That's just the fluff
that's,
Mhm.
yeah.
because they don't even know what agent they're gonna get to
They're-
build it.
they're-
Yeah, I'm
That's
gonna say
Yeah.
it's about, we do all this and then we'll assign you
Yeah,
an agent.
yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
It's
it's
silly.
fine, it's fine the builder,
Yeah.
is what it is, but Danielle's right, Lance is right. The relationship is important. You know, I speak with a lot of builders, and one of the things that builders really want is your database. You know, they think you can market, they think you can sell, right? And you need to do those things, but what about your sphere of influence? You know, if you're a new builder coming from Omaha, all of a sudden, and you know nobody, but your agent's Michelle Hansen, who knows everybody in Pleasant Hill and in the Southeast Polk School District, all of a sudden they've aligned themselves with that database. You know, we've got brand new construction agents that, you know, didn't maybe have that new construction experience, but had a huge, strong database. They were successful in other professions, other careers. And that's why that builder picked them over someone that's been a seasoned new construction agent for 10 plus years. So those are things to offset money, because that, again, back to my term, but if you want to make a pissing contest, you'll lose that $30,000 pissing contest. But if you want to make it more about ideas and value and relationships, another thing too, if you look at some of the new construction agents, I'm not trying to demean or talk bad about new construction agents outside of concepts, but if you look at some of them, a lot of them can't sell. A lot of them don't have the people skills. A lot of them aren't doing the things that we're talking about today, whether it's social media or video or drones or any of that. So those are things that are intangible. Those are things that you really can't put a dollar amount to. And so I've done training classes before on integrity selling. You know, how do you pick up a client at an open house, or how do you pick someone up at a buyer presentation? So building upon those skills is something that, you know, you definitely want to do to be able to bring more buyers to the table. Make sense? Graphic design. How many of you guys are doing that in-house? Are you outsourcing that?
In-house.
In-house? Okay, good. So that's definitely something too. The marketing coordinator, the person that we're going to introduce to the company, they cannot do that. And so we're pretty
Are they
excited.
gonna have a team?
What's that?
Is this person gonna have a team?
Right now, it's going to be individual, so it's going to be based on a capacity, but depending on the demand, I foresee them being able to lead a team of designers and outsourcing and things like that. So, and a lot of it too is once you come up with your graphic design, your template, your branding, your look, your colors, then it's more of a flavors and stuff from scratch. So that's something that, you know, if you're not doing graphic design work or having a professional brand and you're representing a builder, you know, look hard and long at that. A lot of times, I kind of chuckle. I see some of the builder logos, and you know, it's a big old like guy with holding 2x4s. I'm like, which is, you know, they build great houses, but you know, that's your logo. You know, branding is very important. I mean, you ask any, you know, Fortune 500 company, one of the first things, like Tommy Hilfiger, he says, if you're gonna start a company, you have a great name, a great brand, and a great logo. And if your builder doesn't have that, definitely work with them on that. Okay, direct mailing. Anyone doing direct mail? Okay, this is an idea that I have that I will be implementing maybe, but you know, for those houses that have been built in the early 2000s, you know, those buyers bought that new house because it was new, it was under warranty, and 5 years, 8 years after being in a house, they want a bigger house. They have a kind of a clear path of resistance to building again, right? And so think about that. Think about direct mailing to existing homeowners in not brand new houses, but in newer houses, and that they've been there for 5 to 7 years. Think about targeting neighborhoods that maybe, like Lance was saying, of Benbury and Altoona, that they're a little bit older neighborhoods, And as people go through their years and they're getting raises and promotions and kids are getting out of daycare, I mean, all of a sudden they're having a lot more disposable income than what they originally had, or which they originally had a few years ago. Studies have shown that that buyer, when they move up, you know, it used to be 5 to 7 years, now it's like 8 years because of the economy and things like that. But when they do move up, they're moving up 1.5 times. So they might have bought a $250,000. Next house is probably gonna be $375, or 3 becomes a $450. And I'm definitely seeing that with the clients that we're working with. So think about that. If you haven't, open houses, how many, I know Michelle, you and I were texting, how many of the new construction agents you guys are religiously doing an open house every weekend? Unfortunately, that is definitely a good and bad with new construction. The good is you got an awesome place to do an open house. The bad is builders definitely want that. And so one of the things that I want to just really reiterate is market that open house. I did a training class on open houses. I can reshare that, or we can reshare that. But there are so many different things that we should be doing to promote open houses.
Is everybody doing Saturday, Sundays? For
Not everybody.
Construction?
No, not everybody. I'd say 10% of the builders are doing things on Saturday.
Okay.
9-10%. Some of the bigger builders, when I first started, that was a mandatory thing. You had to do Saturdays.
Yeah.
So definitely something to think about, though. I mean, as far as if you've got the opportunity, you've got a spec house and it's not moving fast, you know, try everything you can. So when it comes to open houses, and if you have the new construction listings, if you're not able to do an open house every weekend, I know Danielle and Joe, you guys put it out on Google Plus or put it out via email. I mean, just try to find those right agents, try to align yourself. And that's something that I've worked with a lot of the Jerry's agents on, is trying to find, you know, reliable agents to be there. You know, if it's every weekend, great. If it's every other weekend, but scheduling something so that way that builder knows that you've got them covered for that open house. And a lot of people too, you know, it's all about mindset when it comes to open house. And this is also, I think we record that training that I did for open houses? I think we did. A lot of it's just the mindset too, because if you go into an open house thinking that you're wasting your time, you are going to be wasting your time. But if you go to that open house and know that all it takes is one ready, willing, able buyer to come in, it's all you need. And you have that opportunity to be face to face with someone that may be a potential client, maybe the potential build order. There's huge opportunities in open houses.
Do you feel like open houses for builders are different if it's you sitting at a model home in a development versus a spec home that is available for purchase?
Is it different? Is that your question?
Yeah, like do you feel like, I feel at a really bad spot because, so Seth is my team lead and it takes the two of us to be able to do these Saturday, Sunday open houses, and I kind of like, I'm not the listing agent, but like these people that are coming through, they want something now. I want to buy this. Well, you can't. So I'm like, I don't know, like their frame of mind is different, and I guess I need to figure out how to do something to wrap their head around selling them on building their own, or, you know, and we are having 2 spec homes going up, but.
Yeah, a lot of that's case by case with the buyer. You know, at the end of the day, when my first year in real estate, I think 70% of my business came from open houses. And, you know, the benefit of doing new construction open houses, it is a magnet. It's definitely a marketing magnet. You're gonna attract a lot of buyers. Now it's up to us to qualify these buyers. So if I had every one of you guys come into an open house, hopefully not all at the same time, but it is realistic. I mean, look at this room, and that's definitely realistic. So you have to be able to qualify real fast. Are they working with an agent? Are they looking to build now? Are they looking to buy now? What kind of time frame are they on? Do they want this area? What kind of floor plan? So there's lots of questions that we need to ask. First and foremost is developing that rapport. Home shows, it seems like a home show is a big open house. And one of the things that I've noticed during home shows is, and I hear this, is when 13,000 people come through and the agent's there, there's no eye contact, there's no acknowledgement, there's no small talk, there's no rapport being built whatsoever. You know, that agent does not want to be there. They're just holding it open just because the builder can do that. That's a wrong attitude. That's a wrong mindset. Someone comes in, I'm saying, hi, Brian, how you doing? You know, or I would say Brian because I know who you are, but I'd introduce myself, develop rapport, get them to like you, trust you. And then from there, You ask them lots of questions. Kimmy, what brought you out today? Are you looking to buy? Are you looking to build? Are you currently working with an agent? Have you seen this floor plan before? Do you want to be in this neighborhood? Do you want to be in this school district? All these questions, and all of a sudden because everyone's different. Everyone has different reasons of why they're there. And then all of a sudden you can help the people that are the best fit for your services. Not everyone, if you guys all came into the room, I'm not going to be able to probably help all you guys just because they may not align. So it's a numbers game. But whatever the opportunity you have, you just have to spin the best that you can.
I just mean like we're sitting in a model home.
Mm-hmm.
So
is it for sale or not for sale?
No,
Okay.
it's not for sale. And that's what I'm having problems with some of it, like
Yeah.
with wrapping the potential client's head around.
Yeah.
We will build it to how you want it to be.
Yeah.
Like you pick the lot,
Yeah.
and they want, well, I don't want to wait 4 to 5 months to have a house.
Sure. And if it's not a fit, you still are a buyer's agent. So you pick them up as a buyer and say, you know what, for this builder, for Element right now, we've got this model. This model's not for sale. We are building a couple more specs, and these are the stages that they're in. We're in foundation stage, we're in framing stage, we're in drywall stage. Does that time frame work for you? No, it doesn't. Okay, you know what? I'm also a licensed agent. I specialize in helping buyers just like you find the perfect home. Are you currently committed to working with the buyer? Yes. Oh, great. That's a great agent. They'll take care of you. You're not? Why don't we set up a time, meet me at my office, and we can go through everything that you're looking for, and I'll take you out and look at houses.
Okay.
Like I said, for my first year in business, 7% of my business came through open houses, and I not only sold my listings, but I sold other builder product too. Okay. But open houses, definitely, that's part of your overall marketing. Email marketing, how many of the new construction agents are doing any type of email marketing?
I will be.
You will be. I would definitely recommend that. Definitely think it's a great opportunity to build a database of agents. We've got a list, kind of a small micro list of agents that we could share. I know some of our other new construction agents have asked to do that, but just creating a campaign, whether it's a monthly e-blast or a quarterly, but it's all about top of mind awareness, and not just targeted to agents, but also targeted to your sphere of influence.
And I promised them that they would always have a position in my newsletter.
Yep. Yeah. So above and beyond that, just, in addition to your sphere of
Not
influence.
that went against not that that was the end all be all, but I'm just saying.
So it's nice to have your own newsletter. We've always talked about that from a sphere of influence standpoint, but creating something maybe specific for that. Though not a lot of builders are doing it.
Right.
Not a lot of builders do newsletters. At least I'm not on any of their lists. And Hubble Homes every Friday, they'll send you something on what's available. So tweak it, tailor it based on what you come up with. Anything else on email marketing? Any ideas on agent opens? Are they working? I know you guys have been doing some agent opens.
I think he does pretty well. The one good one, we had a multi-broker one, Keller Williams, Iowa, us over in West Des Moines. I think I had 20-some agents here, which is the best West Side tour I've ever had. Normally Angie's way better.
What was the day and time you did that?
Oh, it was right before Christmas. It was like the 22nd or something like that.
Is it the one that I came to?
Yeah,
Over in
at Aston Valley. You were there, weren't you?
oh no, I didn't.
No,
go to
you
Aspen
came to the
Valley.
other one. You came to
Yeah.
Brentwood. That one wasn't as good, but that was planned pretty quickly.
Yeah.
We did mimosas and muffins or something.
Yeah. Agent opens, there's definitely an art and science to an agent open.
Mhm.
The right day, the right time. Time is important too. Sometimes some agent opens, they are like 10 to 12. And that's, I think a pretty good time, but it's not going to hit probably 2/3 of
Right.
the agents.
Mhm.
And then sometimes if you do like a happy hour one, you're conflicting with other agent activities. So picking a time is very, very important. I'm a big fan of doing them over lunch or doing them at happy hour. Sometimes you do things too early. Half the agents are even. And then picking the right day is also important. If you do Monday, everyone's just starting the week. Because I've seen agent opens on Monday, I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Later in the week. So if it was me, if I were doing agent opens, I would either do like a super fun happy hour, early evening thing, or I would do a late week lunch, brunch type of thing. And then I would definitely do the multiple builder or multiple broker open. But if you can't, you definitely have to have something compelling. Everyone that gives drinks and muffins and things like that, which is nice. But what about like Jen Sambro did one? I saw like the first 10 people that came through are getting a lottery. I think she's doing it right now, between 10 and 12. So I think agent opens are a way to satisfy a builder. Do they work? You know, it is something that kind of a necessary evil to help service that builder.
Danielle, did any of those agents that came to that, I mean, do you feel like they were the selling agent at that point?
I actually feel like my Aspen Valley one got me a lot of traction ever since that, after that agent tour, which could all be coincidence, because I know it's not that much of a science, but we probably had 4 or 5 showings a week on that house, and it did sell.
Awesome.
So, but I mean, it just could be coincidence too, but the feedback and the activity after that was really good.
Yeah.
They weren't, none of them sold it, but several of them have been back through with buyers. So,
I mean, look at all these ideas, and if you created a marketing plan for just one spec or for a builder in general off all these things, you never know what's going to sell the house. But at the end of the day, you can say, hey, Nick, I am doing all these things. We did agent open, boosted it for $200 on Facebook, signage. I got your sign on Ashworth and 81st Street, and I got it on Aspen and 81st Street. I mean, we were just doing all these things. And so based off of why your house isn't selling, you know, maybe it's these reasons.
maybe
It's the price. Yeah. Maybe it's, you know, we're doing everything, but maybe it's the price. Maybe
sometimes
it's the lot.
market.
Maybe, yeah, absolutely. You never know. Let's go to the next slide. Anything else on ideas? Are these good ideas?
FYI, it's 12:10.
12:10, okay. We definitely, I still want to kind of focus on the new construction part of it, and then I think what we'll need to do, Becca, is do a follow-up. We'll probably do it the third week of March. And that one is, like I said, going to be really geared towards agents that want new construction. Okay, so this is more just kind of an open mastermind, just because, and then actually this will definitely benefit agents that aren't working with builders. I wanted to just kind of talk about builder standards and pricing, what we're seeing in the market, to kind of share that information and see what we as agents need to be telling our builders to be competitive. So from a grading standpoint, are you guys all seeing 2x6 is pretty much most everyone 2x6? Justin, are you guys 2x6? Very rarely are builders doing 2x4 anymore. And that's for exterior walls. Interior walls, so everyone knows, kind of the new standard is 2x6. Interior walls is 2x4. So from a competitive advantage standpoint too, this is something I point out, is floor joists. Sometimes some builders are doing like 2x10s, and some of them are doing like I-beams, I-joists. There's definitely a difference. The I-joists cost more. I feel they're better products for multiple reasons. So that's definitely something to point out as you're working with buyers, you're walking them through the house. I call it the bounce test. You go to the middle of the house and you jump up and see what happens. Now, sometimes you hit like a tough spot, you know, and it shakes. But so you got to kind of do like 3 or 4 spots. But if you keep doing it 3 or 4 spots and the whole house is trembling and shaking and feel like it's going to collapse, you probably don't sell that house.
Just about had a transaction fall apart due to, and it came down to me doing a video, jumping up and down. I was like, please don't let that go live. But yeah, I mean, the deal almost fell apart. I had to hold the builder to saying that they didn't like the transition, the squeaking of the floor, because the inspector called it out. So that is so real. I mean, I spent days on it.
Yeah.
Days.
You know, back to what Lance was saying earlier, price per square foot, there are builders that are hitting crazy numbers, price per square foot. But at the end of the day, I don't know if that was you, wasn't it, Shannon? What did we say yesterday? You get what you pay for, right? And so if they're $130 a square foot for a ranch and everyone else is $160 a square foot ranch, something's got to give. Sometimes it's their margins, and some builders, you know, are all about volume. But a lot of times it's what's behind walls. It's the 2x6 versus 2x4. It's the framing. So that's definitely something to look at. And then that leads me to rough-ins too. So from a rough-in standpoint, this is something I, you know, definitely want to make sure if your builder's doing it, it's a competitive advantage. If they're not doing it, talk about, you know, what type of insulation are they using? Are they doing blown? Most builders are doing blown in the attics. For the walls, it's a combination of either blown, is what I'm seeing, or a batt insulation. There's pros and cons of both. Now also, above garage spaces, ask those questions for your clients, because there's lots of homes out there that have living spaces over garages that have heating and cooling issues. And that's because the builder did not insulate underneath properly. So ask those questions. The more knowledge you have on this whole list, the more educated you're gonna come across these buyers. Does that make sense? So I had an agent that I was helping with a transaction, a new agent, and from a plumbing standpoint, she didn't realize that all new construction was using PEX plumbing instead of copper. You know, copper, it was kind of 1970s, right? So PEX, they started using more PEX. So really study a house. It's one thing to go through a house finished, but it's another thing to go through homes during multiple stages and ask a lot of questions, especially if you're working with a built order, just to get that knowledge for yourself. So when it comes to rough-ins, just be knowledgeable on electrical codes, be knowledgeable on plumbing, insulation, all that stuff.
What does rough-in mean?
Rough-in is just the pretty much everything that needs to be roughed into the house before it's finished. So electrical, HVAC, plumbing.
Before drywall.
Before drywall. Yeah. Yeah.
For exterior walls, I mean, I've noticed that a lot of builders are into the insulated foam board as opposed to the OSB. I mean, is that pretty common now?
That is a new product, like the zip systems. That is a new product. It's not common. I'd probably say I've seen it like when I have 20 homes.
Okay.
But I haven't looked at all every day.
Yeah, I just thought that was, and I felt like that was really cheap. I mean, because at some point in time, like you could, we were siding at that time, and I mean, you could shoot right through the siding. And
was it a green? Was it the green board, or what color was it?
it was the hard pink, but I mean, that's what they were using for,
Oh, they were
for the
using.
OSB. It's like,
Oh,
are you kidding me?
I think
You
they
could
use
shoot
that a
right
lot for
through.
commercial stuff.
yeah. Yeah, I've never used. I don't know much about that. Just use it because normally, like OSB and the tieback is what most
Right.
homes use, and then the zip systems are supposed to be like a combination for the OSB and the tieback. So, but, what price point was the house using for? Lower price point?
No, they were probably at 225, 250, just north of Altoona there. So like, not quite your Berwick area.
Yeah. Yeah.
Out in that
You know,
area.
that's kind of becoming, unfortunately, like a lower price point. I remember 10 years ago, you just might remember this, you right? I mean, we could help a client buy a brand new house for $175,000.
Well, this is probably 7 years ago,
Okay.
maybe even 8.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen anything like that, at least the houses that we've come across. But yeah, definitely. I mean, and that's the thing is like, this is, I want to make sure not just the agents that have builders, but those that are going to be working with the buyers and the builders. These are all great things to know because you're selling $275, $300, $400, $500, $600, $800,000 home or a product. So we need to be very, very knowledgeable. So, so from a trim standpoint, most builders are starting to do trim as standard for like, even like skirt boards and things like that. So I don't know if that's kind of commonplace, but just kind of know what to expect. Mudroom lockers, that's pretty much standard anymore. Sometimes builders will do built-ins next to fireplaces. That's standard. So as you're representing buyers and you're representing builders, make sure that okay, this builder is actually offering entry benches and mudroom lockers. These types of built-ins is part of their standards. So keep up with that status quo. Anything else on trim or cabinets? A lot of times too, if you're working with buyers, look very closely at the cabinets. The cabinets are the soft close or they dovetail. Those, are probably the upper end of cabinets. And then from there, based on the wood species, the stain, the paint, you can go up and up from there. But there's definitely a difference between a regular box that has staples holding the door or the drawers together and no soft close. I mean, those are the builder grade cabinets. So if you're competing or not competing, if you're showing a client, 3 different builders at $300,000, that's definitely something to look for. You know, and I always, when I walk through homes, I don't show a lot of the builders product anymore, but I did the drum test. I open and close every cabinet, every door, every window, and we just analyze the house very thoroughly. Okay, countertops, everyone's pretty much standard is granite now. Aren't you guys seeing that? I haven't seen laminate or formica for a long time. So pretty much that's something to expect too. Siding, you know, it used to be that vinyl was for certain price points, but now some of those lower price points, most builders are doing the painted LP or the hardy plank. Is that what everyone's seeing for the most part?
Make sure that you check in the covenants too, because some of them allow or don't allow. And sometimes the listings contradict what's in the covenants, and
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, that's a great point. If you're representing a buyer or a builder buying lots or building spec homes, read those covenants like the back of your hand, because all of a sudden vinyl siding gets ordered and can't have vinyl siding. That's a huge, huge mistake. And that's probably like a third of the builder profit right there, just by redoing that. You know, amount of stone is important for a lot of developments too. The roof pitch, you know, some roof pitches need to be a 612, a 512. Some of those old school developers, they want you to have like a European 812 roof pitch. Now you're saying, you're like, really? 2017, you know? So definitely review the covenants, and I'll have that on the list. Paint, again, some, you know, just kind of know the differences. Some builders, I think the entry level, I should say entry level, but you know, some builders, it's like one paint color, and that's what they'll give you for the walls and the ceiling. So, you know, for like $700 more, most builders are doing white ceilings and one wall color. Some builders are doing 3 to 5 interior colors. So know the differences there for standards. Stone, we just talked about stone. Most homes anymore, stone is standard. You know, back in like 2006, you know, stone was an upgrade on some of the elevations. And then flooring. I would say most of what builders are doing anymore is they're doing a laminate in the kitchen, at least a laminate for the entry level. They're doing the builder grade carpet for the living rooms and bedrooms, and they're doing tile for all bathrooms and laundry rooms. So the reason why I'm bringing this up too is sometimes you get in contract with a builder, and if you haven't looked at their plans and specs, all of a sudden you don't know what they're going to put in the house. And for that price, maybe it isn't tile in the bathrooms, maybe you're getting vinyl. Very rare with the market, but just double check.
Well, and just protecting your buyer. With certain builders, everything is an upgrade.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden their price, when they get into it, they're thinking, expecting what they've seen in other standards, and all of a sudden their $280,000 house is now $320 because of everything that they want.
Yeah, that's a great point. So make it an apples to apples comparison, because you know the price per square foot might be $20, $30 less, but then you look at everything and everything's an upgrade. Oh yeah, you wanted a gas line to your range, that's an upgrade. You wanted, you know, soft close or whatever. I mean, those are all upgrades to a lot of builders. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's yeah.
That's why they want to buy the model that's not for sale.
Per code, you don't have to have it, but I mean, how old is that?
Yeah.
So, but that's, you know, that also kind of tells you the type of builder too, if you want to have your client, you know, work with this builder, because if everything is an upgrade or a nickel and dime, you know, that's most likely the way the whole process is going to be.
When you're considering a builder, do they usually have like a sheet that has
Standards? Yep, they should. Ask for that, you know, the builder standards. Yep. And so when you're working with, you know, builder we talked about yesterday, or ABC, XYZ, you know, before any contracts, and then that's part of the process too, is, you know, by the time you get to contract stage, the most important thing you can do for your client is make it subject to plans and specs. And plans and specs, in my opinion, need to be at least 5 days, but if not longer. I like to put 30 days, just because there's a lot, especially in the custom world, because there's a lot of things that you still need to figure out on all those things. So, and what that means is, and that's on a purchase agreement, you put in the number of days or everyone signs off on it or initials it, all of a sudden, if, even though you're in contract at 300,000, and because of plans and specs, and because not everything was outlined, they're at 350, they technically can cancel the sale because plans and specs haven't been agreed upon. Very important. Back to HOA.
So that gives you 10 days or 30 days, however long you stay for that period, to go over the plans and specs and make sure that's right.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. Read that paragraph. It's right below the inspection paragraph. How many days are you guys seeing, Justin or Bill, for plans and specs?
Doing 15, but
15.
talk about doing more,
Yeah.
just depending on what they're coming back and asking for.
But a lot of that is on the level of the home too.
Yeah.
And doesn't that vary depending on the builder? Like, they have to have a good enough turnaround time for you, correct?
Yeah.
Because like the same person, this client maybe of mine, like the builder would not give them the updated plans and specs. And luckily they had never signed a purchase agreement yet, but that's why they're going to a different builder, because they're like, it'll take us a couple months to price that out for you. So they must not want your business.
Yeah. Definitely it takes time. And then just because you guys sign off on a certain number of days initially, everything's amendable. So, if it's not going to happen within 15 days, we just need to make sure the buyer and the builder are on the same page and extend it or cancel it. So that's very important. That's one thing that you definitely need to do to protect your buyers, is allow for enough time for plans and specs. And then also there are covenants or an HOA. Use our HOA form that has burned quite a few of our agents over the last years. They didn't have that signed off. They never got a copy of the covenants, and all of a sudden they find out they can't put a pool in the yard, or they can't do a fence, or they can't have a certain type of dog, and they're going to take back at you. How are we doing on time, Becca?
12:26.
Okay, let's just look at one more slide. Why don't we kind of already talked about new construction. Why don't we, you guys think this would be good to do a follow-up on? Because I was planning on doing like the 3rd of the month for March, and then potentially even April. I definitely have at least one more session. But anyone have any questions at all? Anyone got any good ideas from today that they're gonna implement? Michelle?
I was just gonna make sure, are you guys paying for all the marketing, for your builders? How much are the agents covering? How much are the builders covering? I know what the expectations been set for me.
We do most.
Okay, you cover it.
Yeah, I mean, they do some of their own
Sure.
marketing just through their
Okay.
website,
Okay.
things like that, but for the
Okay.
most part, yes.
I'd say it depends on if they're running their own website and stuff.
Mhm.
Because I know Seth, like he's running, not Seth, but the builder is running their own website. And the builder is the one running his own Facebook page, and he's
So
boosting
you
his.
don't want that. I'm just, okay, am I being recorded? Okay.
Well,
Okay.
it's
Everybody.
like everyone, some builders are different. Some builders, if you help start them up,
Sure,
their
well,
website, you
yeah,
have the Facebook page, and
Yeah.
some builders, they've already been in business for.
sure, and you come in late the game, I gotcha.
So it's definitely a relationship. It's
Mhm.
not a one size fits all. It's definitely very,
Right.
very, specific to what they want, what they need,
Right.
what you agree to do. Most builders are gonna take everything that they can get,
Mhm.
and I would too. And it's just all about just kind of that push and pull.
But like you said, that's, your value in it is if you're doing all that marketing, then, they see that value and
I would
it
gladly,
gives you ownership.
yeah, I'd gladly spend $200 marketing something for a $12,000 commission.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, anything else? Any other questions, ideas, things that you guys want to share?
I was wondering if anyone has worked with classic builders before.
Maybe we should turn off the recording at this point. Hold on, edit that part.